I find the issue of diversity genuinely interesting as to how it's promoted. It's a difficult subject to do well, and I've always found Outsource to be quite good at approaching that issue, and I was curious as to how the evening would pan out, really. I think it's a common trend of people needing to realise that in business, as in life, you have to be human and nice to people. So when we speak about diversity, it's about not being an idiot and not excluding people and not making people feel unwelcome or unable to function in a society or a group, whether that be a business or whether that be a social situation. So it's a message that really passes through both from an individual within friendship groups through to corporate life, small businesses, as into business relationships as well. So I think that's why diversity is so important, really. I got a lot from the concept that a respect for diversity doesn't preclude the ability to have fun and have informal conversations with people. It's almost in being too afraid to engage in a social way with anyone for fear of offence is almost a paternalistic patronising of groups. It's assuming that they're going to be offended before they are, when actually what we're seeking is honest and authentic communication and engagement on a social level. So I really got a lot from the Q&A at the end where that was discussed. I was talking about a very interesting bracket within cybersecurity, in that we've spoken about attracting more females into the industry. We've spoken about being inclusive of disability and various different cognitive ways of thinking. But I had a really interesting conversation with someone who was of a age where he fell between the brackets of not being a millennial and young, and also not being kind of older, middle-aged guy, where he's has a passion and an interest for cybersecurity, but hasn't necessarily been around enough to buy in, to learn enough. So it's almost, he can see what he wants to do, but he doesn't necessarily have the history and the time to have learned as much as he wants. And it's almost like a forgotten half generation of your late 20s, early 30s that now are seeing how cybersecurity is an amazing profession and just a great thing to get into, but are thinking, oh my goodness, I've got so much to learn. I don't know how to code. I understand the basics of cybersecurity, but you know, it's just I've chosen a different career path, and how do I get into this? That's an interesting. I found it really, really interesting. Is how do you reach these people that potentially could be a great asset to the cybersecurity industry, but are almost feel that they've missed the boat, really. Surprisingly good. Often with diversity events, it's hard to pitch the level right. Either it's a shouting match of militant proportions, or it can be like almost a patronising, paternalistic pat on the head, both of which are wholly unacceptable. And I felt this evening pitched it right in the middle of the two, a really authentic group discussion about how to be a human in today's world. Whether that's cybersecurity as a profession, or whether that's banking, or whether that's accountancy, it boils down to just how to be a reasonable person and not be offensive and not be, you know, horrible to your fellow person. And I think that's a really important takeaway that I've taken from here.